Substance use, the call to heal. Parenting a child with autism is already one of the most demanding roles a person can take on. It stretches your patience, your stamina, your heart, and often your resources. When you're also battling a substance use disorder, the weight of it all can feel crushing. Maybe you've tried to quit before. Maybe you're managing, but just barely. Maybe you're holding it together in public, but breaking down behind closed doors. If this is you, you're not a bad parent. You're not broken. You're not alone. Many parents turn to substances not out of recklessness or carelessness, but out of survival. Because the pain is unbearable. Because the stress never stops. Because no one else is helping. Because they are trying to quiet the chaos inside long enough to function. It's not weakness. It's a signal that your nervous system, your mind, and your body are overloaded. But even if your use is understandable, even if it feels like the only relief you have, your child still needs you present, stable, and emotionally available. And that's not said to shame you. It's said with love. Because your child is watching you, even when they can't speak, even when it seems like they're off in their own world. They are learning what safety feels like by watching how you cope with stress, how you show love, and how you show up when things get hard. You are their home. Autistic children need more support than typical children. They may rely on routines, specialized care, speech or occupational therapy, and a stable emotional environment to thrive. Their needs can grow quickly and become more complicated over time, not just emotionally, but financially and logistically too. And the truth is, this job is too big for anyone to carry alone, especially when addiction is silently unraveling your energy, your focus, and your hope. This is why reaching out for support isn't just important, it's vital. Whether it's leaning on a close friend who listens without judgment, accepting help from a family member who can watch your child so you can rest or go to therapy, or talking openly to a trusted professional, you don't have to go through this in silence. Recovery happens in your community. Even one safe connection can make the difference between hopelessness and healing. Getting help is fighting for your child. It's stepping up in the most courageous way possible. It's saying, I love you enough to change, even when that change feels terrifying or overwhelming. It's acknowledging that love isn't just about being physically present, it's about being emotionally available, mentally clear, and stable enough to meet your child's needs day after day. It's choosing to become the parent they need you to be, not the perfect parent, but a present one. The kind of parent who can offer calm instead of chaos, who can model healthy coping skills, who can weather meltdowns without spiraling, who can walk into a therapy session or a school meeting with clarity and strength. That version of you exists, even if you haven't met them yet. Getting help is how you begin to uncover and nurture that version of yourself. You can love your child deeply and still need to heal yourself. These two truths are not in conflict. They walk hand in hand. Love alone is not always enough to undo trauma, silence anxiety, or stabilize your nervous system. Healing is what gives your love the roots it needs to grow into something steady. Healing is how you break the cycle. Healing is how you teach your child by example that it's okay to ask for help, to face hard things, and to grow. And you don't have to have it all figured out before you start. The first step toward healing doesn't have to be big or dramatic. It might be admitting to a friend that you're struggling. It might be making an appointment. It might be calling a hotline or sitting in your car before a support group meeting, trying to convince yourself to go in. That first step counts. Every step counts, because every bit of healing you do for yourself becomes a gift you pass down to your child. Why compassion and recovery go hand in hand. Recovery isn't about guilt, it's about compassion. You cannot give your child what you don't have yourself. And that's where recovery work and empathetic parenting intersect. As you learn to show compassion toward yourself, your pain, your story, your missteps, you gain the emotional strength to show that same compassion to your child. When you begin to heal, you bring clarity, consistency, and calm to a child whose world may already feel unpredictable and overwhelming. Empathy doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. And if substances are pulling you out of presence, numbing you to your child's needs, or stealing your time, energy, and money, then something needs to change. You may worry what will happen if you admit the truth. You may be afraid of judgment, of losing custody, of being seen as incapable. But here's another truth. When you get help, you model resilience. You show your child that it's okay to ask for support, that people can change, that healing is possible. You also unlock the resources that can support not just you, but your entire family. Getting help isn't selfish, it's responsible. There are treatment programs designed specifically for parents. Some include childcare assistance. Some offer outpatient support so you can stay connected with your family while you heal. There are therapists who understand both addiction and parenting. There are support groups, online and in person, where you can hear stories like yours and speak without fear of being judged. Support also exists beyond professional settings. Family and friends who understand what you're going through can become part of your support circle. Accepting their help, whether it's meals, rides to therapy, a listening ear, or simply someone to sit beside you while your child melts down, can help you rebuild your strength. Community programs, faith-based outreach, and disability organizations often offer parent support networks. Sometimes those networks are the first step toward healing. You weren't meant to do this alone. You don't have to walk into a full inpatient rehab center tomorrow. Help can begin with one step: a phone call, a conversation with your doctor, an AA or NA meeting, or a support group for parents with special needs children. If you're unsure where to start, speak with your child's pediatrician or therapist. Many of them can refer you to resources that align with your situation, discreetly and respectfully. You're not the first parent to sit in their office with tears in your eyes, overwhelmed and unsure. You won't be the last. How your substance use affects the autistic child now and for years to come. Children, especially autistic children, crave predictability. They depend on structure, rhythm, and emotional consistency to feel safe in a world that already feels overwhelming. When a parent is actively struggling with substance use, that consistency often disappears. Routines become erratic. Moods shift rapidly. Promises are broken, even if unintentionally. The environment becomes unpredictable. And what might feel like just another bad day to the parent can feel like total chaos to the child. For an autistic child, this kind of instability doesn't just disrupt their day, it rewires how they experience the world. When home life becomes unpredictable, the child's nervous system adapts by staying in a state of high alert. They may become more sensitive to sensory input, more resistant to change, more withdrawn or aggressive. Their sleep may suffer. Their behavior may deteriorate, not because they're being difficult, but because their brain and body no longer feel safe. This kind of chronic stress, especially when it comes from a parent they love and rely on, can impact how they regulate emotions for the rest of their life. Studies have shown that early exposure to chaos, neglect, or emotional unpredictability increases the risk of anxiety, depression, difficulty with attachment, and trouble with self-regulation well into adulthood. Even if a child cannot speak, even if they seem disconnected or unbothered on the surface, they are still absorbing the emotional atmosphere of their home. They are constantly scanning their caregiver's tone, body language, presence, and availability to determine if the world is safe. When that emotional atmosphere is shaped by addiction, by missed meals, canceled therapy appointments, broken routines, or angry outbursts, they learn that love is unreliable. That help may not come when they need it most. This kind of emotional instability becomes their baseline for what relationships feel like. And unless they are given a more stable foundation to heal from, that belief can follow them for the rest of their life. They may grow up feeling they have to walk on eggshells. They may struggle to trust others. They may have trouble self-soothing because they never experienced consistent co-regulation. They may even begin to mimic the emotional patterns they saw growing up, including anger, avoidance, or self-harm. But here's the hope. This doesn't have to be their story forever. The human brain is incredibly adaptable. Humans, especially when still young, can rewire their nervous systems in response to consistent love and safety. Healing begins with one stable day, then another, then another. Every time you choose to stay present, calm and loving, you are building a new foundation for your child. It's never too late to become the parent your child can count on, the parent who responds with compassion instead of chaos, the parent whose love is steady, even in the hard moments. Because no matter what your past looks like, your child's future is still being written, and you have the power to shape it, starting now. Your child needs you, but so do you. You matter, not just as a provider or caretaker, as a human being. Your healing matters because your child deserves a parent who feels alive, who is safe to rely on, and who can weather the storm alongside them, not while drowning in their own. No matter what your past looks like, you can choose a different path. Starting now, you can be the calm in your child's storm. You can be their source of love, their steady hand, their safety. And you don't have to do it alone. Lean on the people around you. Find your team. Build your circle. Let others lift you up while you rebuild your life. Your child is worth it. And so are you. Final thoughts. If you are struggling with substance use while parenting an autistic child, you are not beyond redemption. You are not selfish. You are not failing. You are a human being in pain, doing your best under conditions that few people truly understand. But survival is not the same as healing, and numbing the pain will never bring the relief you're actually searching for. What you need isn't more shame, it's support. What your child needs isn't perfection, it's your presence. Recovery is not about fixing everything at once. It's about choosing a different direction, one step at a time. It's about asking for help, even when it feels hard. It's about recognizing that your well-being is essential, not optional, in your child's life. Because when you heal, your child heals with you. When you find your footing, you give your child a steady hand to hold. And when you learn to show compassion to yourself, you teach your child what real love looks like. You are not alone. You are not broken. And it's not too late to begin again.